What's your opinion on my question?
Um, and I'm Scottish, so I'm sort of third party to all this. I don't really, it doesn't really happen. That kind of doesn't really happen over here. We don't really have. Well, no one's really got guns over here at all. Like, I mean, we had one school shooting in the '90s in Dunblane. I think like 15 kids were killed, and then after that, we just said, "Oh well, people can't have guns anymore." We just ended it then and there, and we haven't had anything since. Like that's been like nearly 20 years now.
So you think the removal of guns altogether would stop school shootings?
I think it would, but I think the problem you guys have is that it's not really possible over there. You couldn't really remove all the guns. The amount you've got was is so much more than we ever had. Like
Yeah.
we never really had that many people in the public that had guns. It was more maybe farmers or people who shot for like as a sport. Never really like there was never really one in every house here the way there is over there, kind of thing. So I think as much as it was easy for us after we had a school shooting to just go, right, that's it. Guns are pretty much banned altogether because not a lot of people had them. The difference you guys have is like so many people have them, it would be so hard to get them all back, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. And they're so easily, like, you can easily obtain them. And I think just in general, trying to have um, like stricter gun control is not going to solve um, the whole school shooting problem. I think that it needs, like, the focus needs to not just be on the fact that, oh, if they didn't have access to these guns, this wouldn't have happened, because people can easily have access to guns. I think the focus needs to be on the main problem, and that is either the bullying they're faced, or the mistreatment that they're being, that they're having to face. And not only that, but also the mental illnesses, not just blaming it on mental illnesses and the fact that they have guns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I feel that. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
I hate how like it's solely being blamed on the fact that there are guns. I feel like there should be stricter gun control, because when the Second Amendment was put in place, they had guns that took some time to reload. But now we have guns that you can reload in less than a minute, and like they have multiple rounds, which I don't and whatnot. But I don't feel like guns are the problem, because it's an object. It's how people choose to use those objects.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone just asked, do we
Yeah.
ban cars after car accidents? I think we probably would ban cars if people started driving cars through the front of school buildings, etc. I don't think MD suggesting that cars are used as an intentional weapon.
Yeah, cars aren't.
Comparison. I think if people started driving cars on a regular basis through the front of school buildings, I think we'd have an issue there. Maybe start screening people before you give them driving licenses. I don't think that's a very good comparison to make.
Yeah. Because cars aren't. That's a totally different thing. Cars are extremely different from guns, and when there are car accidents, they're just that, accidents. And guns are, used to kill multiple people. That's how they're being used.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the same guy there asked why gun crime doubled in Britain after 1990. I mean, I agree. That's true, it did. I think we've seen a decline now, though. It's almost halved in the last 10 years. So, I mean, again, I think we had less than 250 gun crimes all in as a country last year. So, I mean, I agree with that guy's point there, but again, not an ideal comparison to make.
The government doesn't care about our safety. They just want to control. I don't think that's necessarily true. They, in the sense of guns, yes, they want to control it for our safety, because there are people using guns to kill a number of people. So in that sense, they want to limit. They want to put more regulations on those guns, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Don't get me wrong. I mean,
because again,
it's hard to get rid of. I mean, the problem we actually have more than guns is violent knife crime, and
yeah,
we had a sort of throw out your knives campaign a few years ago, which makes absolutely no sense. And knife crime, funny enough, not funny enough, that's not funny. The knife crime is on the rise, I believe, over the past 4 years. I mean, that is an issue, and obviously you kind of have to think, if Americans didn't have guns, I mean, there's likely to be something else. But as a knife, it's hard to deal with as a gun. Absolutely not. As a knife, are you able to kill as many people as quickly with a knife as you are with a gun? Absolutely not. I think those are the points I'd make on that issue. Don't know how you feel about it.
just ask the single moms. I'm reading this person's comment. I to an extent, I do think these power hungry mafia bosses, do care about people, because if they didn't care, they wouldn't try to create things, that benefit us. Of course, there are, bad politicians and there are good politicians and some that are better than others. But I still think they care about us. And just ask the single moms in Chicago who can defend themselves. I don't see how that's relevant.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that comes back to the point I kind of started on. But everyone having a gun, I think the issue there is the same as when everyone here doesn't have one, so there's no need for it. I think it's a self-perpetuating need. It's the whole escalation thing that cops talk about, where they say if we start carrying automatic weapons, they'll start carrying automatic weapons. It's the same type of thing where one person has a gun, 2 people have guns, 1,000 people have guns, 10,000 people have guns. Single moms in Chicago shouldn't have to carry a firearm. A single mom who should have to deal with caring for a baby. No person, no civilian should ever have to find themselves in a situation where they have to look down the barrel of a gun at another person and consciously decide to take that person's life. Whether it's in self-defense or not, that's a decision that can mess you up for life. That's not an ideal thing to have to do, I wouldn't say. I don't know how you feel about it, but
more guns and more people get killed in Chicago, and no guns are allowed. Funny, huh? This person is making some interesting points. But back to the whole. Yeah, I personally, I feel like there should be more gun controls. But when I'm going back to my question, I don't think that more gun control would stop. Okay, so when you're going about trying to get gun control, I think using the school shooting thing isn't a good reason to isn't a good enough reason to say this is why we need gun control, because I still feel like you can still get access to those guns.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like realistically,
they're just too many.
The people that do these things probably don't have legal access to a gun anyway. So I mean, I think anyone that's doing these things probably has obtained the gun, if it's a young person especially, sort of obtained it legally, obviously. So that makes perfect sense what you're saying there. I agree.
Yeah, the Boston Marathon attack shows us that violent people will always find a way.
All right, well, I've got to jump anyway, so.
All right.
That was fun.
That was a good statement, by the way. But yeah.
Cool.
Bye.
Right. Bye.